This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're live at the LD Micro 11th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California, 2018. I have with me today Matt Nicosia from Vivakor, Inc. It's a publicly traded company on OTC markets, and the symbol is VIVK. Matt, welcome back to SNNLive.
Thank you, Shelley. Pleasure to be here with you again.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with a brief overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Well, the company is an asset acquisition company focusing on acquiring assets specifically pertaining to hydrocarbon extraction, both in the asset valuation and increase of assets in oil sands, as well as remediation and reclamation in the Middle East.
Now, what's the history behind the company?
Well, the company's been focusing on acquiring assets for about the past, I'd say, 7 years. The past 3 years specifically, we've been able to fine-tune these technological assets and commercialize them to the extraction of, I would call them, uncommercialized or unmonetized assets, specifically oil sands in Utah, and now same technology has been applied to extraction and cleanup of hydrocarbons from major spills such as the Iraqi invasion in Kuwait.
You know, we haven't had you on in a while, so you have any updates?
Absolutely. What's been our focus is, as I said before, the commercialization and the building of our technology, or we call them our remediation processing centers. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to do proof of concept, 3 case studies, and more importantly, transition from we're going to do to actually completion. In Utah, we operated for 1.5 years, closed-looped extraction process. Additionally, we achieved these major milestones in contracts towards these large UN extraction and cleanup projects that we're starting now in Kuwait. Each of these machines, we call them remediation processing centers, add significant shareholder value both in revenue and profitability, and now we're in the full phase of just deployment of these technologies.
What's your competitive advantage?
The competitive advantage is we have a technology that not only does it extract the hydrocarbons from the soil material, it makes both the oil and the sand or the soil organic material usable. Up until now, most have used thermal methodologies that destroy all the organic materials. In regards to our specific Kuwait contract, which is the whole project is up to $2.8 billion just in Kuwait alone, the requirement from the UN is that both the sand and the oil are usable. And right now, as we know, we are the only company that has 3 case studies and proven that we can extract and make both the sand and the oil usable.
Is the technology proprietary?
Absolutely. We have a portfolio of patents filed specifically around this set of technology. There are 3 individual patents filed, and we filed them with the Paris Treaty. Therefore, we've extended those patent protections into the Middle East.
My question is, what is your competitive landscape if there's so much cleanup going on around the world?
Correct. The cleanup market is expected to be close to $300 billion as far as cleanup of hydrocarbons specifically. Because we have mobile machines, these remediation processing centers can move around. Our deployment costs are very low. Our time to implementation is very low compared to the other market. But specifically, that use of that material, both we'll call it the organic material and the hydrocarbons. One huge competitive advantage, which we've done recently, specifically here in the States, we have chosen to build all of our remediation processing centers in opportunity zones. So what's happened from a capital perspective, our ability to attract capital for these tax deferral structures and allow the investors to receive a percentage of the cash flow and these K1 deductions plus these opportunities on tax deferral systems has catapulted our ability to speedily build these centers and deploy them.
So when you remediate a project, what happens to the oil and what happens to the sand?
Very good question. In Utah, the sand is a usable material. There's multiple applications such as waterproofing cement and or frac sand plus other aggregates. The oil itself is usable. We sell it as an oil product. It's got many benefits such as an asphaltic cement. We've got carbon fibers for steel and crude capabilities. Now the neat thing is in the Middle East, when we extract and separate these, we'll call them heavy fraction materials from soils, that oil after our process is usable and can be put right back into the system. So that's a huge advantage that no other that we're aware of existing remediation company provides for these large producers such as Aramco, KOC, and others.
What's your background?
My background is as a business development entrepreneur. I have an MBA from Pepperdine. The past 20 years, I've operated both private and public companies, and specifically from a technology aspect. We focused heavily, in my background, on engineering as well as nanomaterial structure, and also I've done a lot, unfortunately, with chemistry and some physics.
Now, you're a public company, so only tell me what you can. What are some, growth drivers?
Absolutely, and we've put this out, we call it our fundamental revenue growth phase, our FRG phase that we're in right now. Our objective is each machine generates anywhere from 4 to 6 million in top-line revenue annually. That's a major key performance indicator. Our objective over the next, we'll call it the next 12 months, is to have 6 of these remediation processing centers producing. Additionally, our objective is to acquire 250 million barrels of resources in the state of Utah, as well as transition into the larger KERP UN cleanup projects in Kuwait. All of those are significant value-add builds for our investor base as well as for the technology.
Matt, let's get your website out there for more information for our investor audience.
Thank you. Our website is www.vivakor.com. That's VIVAKOR.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Nicosia, Vivakor Inc. It's a publicly traded company, and it's in the U.S. It's VIVK. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the LD Micro 11th Annual Main Event in Bel Air, California, 2018. Matt, pleasure to see you.
Thank you, Shelley.